Before getting hours and pay into the payroll, you'll want to make sure that your payroll grid is set up to your preferences. The pay grid is very comparable to an Excel sheet. To set or modify your column headers, first go to Payroll, Pay Data, and then select Grid. Over to the right, you'll see a Grid Settings link. Click that to open the pop-up modal. This page is where you can customize those grid settings. Note that your grid settings will carry over from payroll to payroll, so it's unnecessary to set these up or to complete this step every payroll. Some of the most common options changed on this screen include the record sequence option, number of records per page, and the selected earnings section down below. Once the pop-up modal is open, use the record sequence to change how the employees will be arranged on your grid. The default is to view employees by their number, but often people wish to do alphabetic, department alpha, cost center alpha, pay type alpha. There's many other options for you to choose. Next, use the number of records per page to limit the number of employees that show on the screen. The larger the number, the fewer pages you'll have to scroll through. And the smaller the number, the more pages you'll have to scroll through. It is possible to leave this field blank, and the default is 50 employees per page. Next, move any earnings down below that you wish to be on your grid from the available side to the selected side on the right by using the arrows in between. You'll notice that every earning has both an hours and a pay category. Only add earnings that you will be importing data for or manually entering into the grid. It's unnecessary to add fields that the system will calculate for you. For example, most companies will have the system calculate an employee's overtime rate. Therefore, you wouldn't need to move over overtime pay because the system would be doing the calculation for you. Instead, you would only want overtime hours in the selected section. On the other hand, since most companies enter a dollar amount for bonuses or commission, you would only want bonus or commission pay and not bonus or commission hours. These are the main options you'll want to know about in your grid settings. Other options on this page include changing the number of record sequences based on pay type. This is near the top. There's also columns that can be hidden on the grid, including cost center, rate, subject, source, and week. Of these, the most common changes that are made here is to uncheck source and week. Being able to view the source will show you the source of where the data comes from, meaning whether the data came from an import or from a manual entry. This is helpful if you bring in hours and pay from multiple sources. The week is helpful if your company pay frequency is less frequent than weekly. The week option, if unchecked, will separate out the hours by week. Please note that there are some settings that will need to be configured on our end. So if you're interested in this, please contact Dominion Systems for more information. To the right of this area, you can change how the cost centers are listed, either as a drop-down or as a text box. Additionally, at the bottom, selecting employee status when populating grid will require you to select employee status, such as full-time or part-time. This may be helpful if you plan to hand key in hours for seasonal or for employees, and you don't want to have seasonal or temp employees automatically come into the grid with the rest of employees. You'll want to make sure that they are marked, however, with the applicable status on the employee pay screen in order for this to work. Finally, After you've finished making any changes to your grid settings, click Save. Dominion will remember those settings the next time you do payroll.